Hi guys, I'm Michelle from Virtual Hand Care, and in this video, I'm gonna share 3 exercises to increase elbow flexion. So if you're struggling with stiffness or you haven't achieved all of your elbow flexion range of motion, then follow along with me. So we're gonna do these elbow exercises on a door, and you're gonna wanna grab yourself a towel or a pillowcase to slide your arm on. Now, really quick, before we jump into them, you're gonna want to place your forearm in whatever position is comfortable for you. For some of you, being in a neutral position or a thumbs up position will feel better on the elbow. But for some of you that have a little bit of a ligament, a strain or injury, you might feel better with your palm down and doing the elbow flexion exercises in a pronated position. Place your forearm in whatever position feels comfortable for you when you're doing these elbow flexion exercises. Okay, let's get started with elbow flexion exercise number 1, and this is active elbow slides on the door. So place that towel as high up on the door as you can. Place your hand on the towel, reaching up. So we're gonna be in a little bit of elbow extension. So if you're working on elbow extension as well, this one will work for you too. So again, place your hand palm down, or you can place it in more of a neutral position, which is in a thumbs up position. And if you can, go ahead and get that elbow on the towel as well. And so now we're going to slide that arm down. And as we slide that arm down, you'll notice we're going into some elbow flexion. Now you want to go down as far as you can go. We're going to hold a second or two, and then you're going to slide back up into some extension. So that's 1, and come back down, slide all the way down on that door, go into as much elbow flexion as possible, making sure that elbow doesn't pop off that towel or that door. Hold a few seconds and slide back up. That's 2. And come back down. Hold a few seconds and back up, and that's 3. Now if you want, you can also use your other hand just to kind of help hold that forearm down, which helps keep that elbow down. And come down as far as you can into as much flexion as possible. Hold a few seconds and back up. That's 4. And back down. Hold a few seconds and back up. That's 5. Again, you can change the position of your forearm if you want to see how that feels in a palms down position. See if maybe you get a little more elbow flexion. Hold and back up. That's 6. Back into neutral if you want to try that. Keeping elbow and the whole entire forearm on the towel. Hold a few seconds here. And back up. And that's 7. And come back down. Hold a few seconds. And that's 8. Let's do 2 more. Come back down. Hold a few seconds. Making sure our shoulder is not raising either. Some nice space between our shoulder and our neck. We're nice and loosened up here. And back up. Let's do 1 more. And come back down. Really try to hold and back up. And that's 10. Good job. Okay, elbow flexion exercise number 2 is a passive elbow flexion stretch on the door. So very similar to our last one, but this time what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna start a little bit lower. So get that arm in as much elbow flexion as you possibly can. And again, you can turn your forearm in whatever position feels comfortable for you during this stretch. So we're actually going to be stretching and applying a little bit of pressure with our body into the elbow to try to get a little more elbow flexion. And then what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and place our other hand kind of in the crease of that elbow. And now we're going to take that other hand and we're going to try to apply a little bit of a downward pressure just to try to give ourselves a little bit more flexion. Okay, hold it. And now, if you can, try to lean into that elbow just to try to give yourself a little more elbow flexion. Holding here. Now this one you can hold for 5 to 10 to 20 seconds. The more stiff your elbow is, the longer length of time you want to hold that stretch. Good, and then you can relax that. If you want, you can just kind of work that out a little bit, just kind of get out of that position, but don't go all the way into elbow extension because we want each of those stretches to build on the next. Ready? Come back up into elbow flexion as much as you can. When you feel like you can't go anymore, take your other hand and apply a little bit of pressure down into that elbow crease. So you're applying a little bit of downward force. Then if you can, lean into that just to give a little more pressure and stretch. Relax your fingers and we're going to hold here for several seconds. Good. And then relax. And you can just come back up here, rest for a second or two. And again, come back down. Apply some pressure. Lean into that elbow, give it a little more flexion. Really making sure you're centered on that door. And hold. And relax that. Good, so that's 3. We're actually gonna do 5 repetitions of this one since we're holding these for a longer length of time. Again, slide down as far as you can go. Apply some pressure down, giving a little space in that elbow crease. And then lean if you can, holding here. Again, a good 5 to 10, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, even a few minutes can be beneficial depending on how stiff you are. Good, and then relax back up. All right, let's do one more. Ready? Slide down, get into as much elbow flexion as possible. Get into that elbow crease, apply a little bit of downward pressure, giving yourself a little bit more of a stretch and a lean. Really try to lean into that elbow, holding here. Good, and then relax. Good, and that's 5. If you feel like you were just getting started with that stretch, go ahead and repeat that for another 5 reps to get yourself a good 10 repetitions in with that exercise. Okay, elbow flexion exercise number 3 is a door push-up. So we're gonna do a little strengthening and stretching at the same time. You're not necessarily gonna need this washcloth for this exercise. So what we're going to do is place our hands flat on the door, and you can place your feet as far back or as close to the door as what feels good for you. It really depends on how much strength you have in that elbow. Hands flat, about shoulder height. And now you're gonna go ahead and lean your body into that arm. And as you lean, you'll notice you're gonna get a little more elbow flexion, but you're also working on strengthening the back of that tricep. So go ahead and lean in here into that push-up, hold a few seconds, and then push yourself back out. And you don't have to go out into full extension here. You can just kind of go into a relaxed elbow position. Play around with the placement of your hands also. Okay, really lean in, really feel that elbow flexion. We're gonna hold here just a second or two and back out, and that's 2. And again, lean in, hold a second or 2 and back out, that's 3. Go ahead and step your feet back a little bit farther if you want a little more strengthening. And lean in, hold a second or 2 and back out, and that's 4. Back in. Really feel the burn in that elbow and back out, and that's 5. Again, come back down. Feel the strength of that arm holding you up, getting a little stretch. And back up, that's 6. And back up, that's 7. Back down. Hold. Back up, that's 8. Back down, really get that elbow flexion. And that's 9. And back down. Really bending that elbow in whatever position is comfortable for you. And back up. And that's 10. Whew, good job. Those 3 exercises were tough. Hopefully you're noticing a little more elbow flexion range of motion. If you found this video helpful, do please give it a like and don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. And if you're looking for more elbow range of motion exercises, then check out more of my videos here. Until next time, thanks for watching.